A sterile lab in Singapore might hold the blueprint to humanity's next major food revolution. Inside glass bioreactors, muscle cells multiply without slaughter, forming meat without ever being part of an animal. This isn't science fiction or a Silicon Valley prototype. It's real, regulated, and entering global food markets. Called cultivated meat, it starts with a single cell, fed nutrients to grow into edible tissue. No antibiotics, no slaughterhouses, and no emissions from methane-belching livestock or massive feedlots. The texture, taste, and nutrition are engineered to match traditional meat almost perfectly, down to the fibers. But what happens next could disrupt ecosystems, economies, and species that rely on our livestock systems. Cows alone account for over 14% of global emissions when considering land, feed, and methane. Replacing them with lab-grown meat could reduce environmental damage while feeding a growing population with fewer resources. Yet it's not just beef. Cultured chicken, duck, lamb, and even fish are already being produced. One California startup grew salmon meat without water, nets, or risking ocean ecosystems and biodiversity collapse. Traditional fishing practices threaten over a third of the world's marine species with extinction or depletion. But lab-grown fish need no oceans, no trawlers, and no bycatch, just cells and sterile tanks. Still, critics worry the energy use, infrastructure, and scaling demands could create new environmental burdens over time. Current production costs are dropping fast, from hundreds per burger to single digits in under a decade. In 2023, the US approved cultivated chicken for human consumption through the USDA and FDA jointly. That means it's not only legal but considered safe and nutritionally comparable to conventional chicken meat. As prices fall, school lunches, military rations, and fast food chains may soon carry cultivated options. But could this rewrite nature itself and alter how food chains function from top to bottom? Predators in the wild evolve based on prey availability, so changes in meat sourcing could ripple outward. If fewer cows graze grasslands, ecosystems dependent on grazing patterns might see new winners and losers emerge. Even vultures in some regions depend heavily on livestock waste and carrion from cattle operations. What disappears when the slaughterhouse vanishes and wild scavengers lose their primary urban food source? Some scientists see a chance to re-wild, letting forests reclaim land once stripped bare for cattle feed. Others worry that monopolies may dominate cultivated meat, sidelining traditional farmers and widening global inequality gaps. Still, lab-grown meat may also reduce zoonotic diseases by minimizing human-animal contact in cramped farm environments. Viruses like avian flu and swine flu often begin in factory farms before leaping into human populations. By removing these high-risk breeding grounds, we could prevent the next pandemic before it reaches humans. But cultural resistance remains as people question whether meat without blood can still carry ancestral significance. For millions, eating meat is tradition, ceremony, and identity, not just protein on a dinner plate. Religious scholars are now debating whether cultured meat qualifies as halal, kosher, or entirely new territory. Meanwhile, chefs are experimenting with lab-grown foie gras and exotic meats once banned for cruelty concerns. Some envision saving endangered species by cultivating tiger, pangolin, or bluefin tuna meat without harming real animals. But the ethics are complex. Just because we can grow it, should we eat it without restraint? The future menu could include extinct animals grown from DNA samples pulled from museum archives and fossils. It sounds surreal, but the technology already exists, and researchers are preparing public taste panels. If successful, it could decouple taste from extinction, letting us experience biodiversity without risking it again. Still, humanity's biggest challenge isn't scientific, it's psychological, redefining what we trust, crave, and call real food. In taste tests, Most consumers cannot tell lab-grown meat from the real thing when cooked properly. And yet a mental barrier remains, a gut hesitation tied more to tradition than scientific fact. But history shows that revolutions often begin slowly, with a single dish that changes everything forever. In sterile labs today, cells multiply in silence, carrying the potential to reshape what the world eats. And the food chain we've known for millennia might just be entering its most dramatic chapter yet.